Hey, this is Oscar the Lawyer. You're listening to the LANCESCURV Show.
LANCESCURV, I see you in the live chat. Salute, homie. Are you still in Africa, Lance? You moved to Africa.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
So, I grew up an only child with a single mother.
Yes.
Okay. Now, within that family dynamic, it was my mother, my aunt, her sister, biological sister, and then before August of 2002, it was also my grandmother, their mother, but she died of a brain aneurysm in August of 2002, and I was 6 years old. And even from that, tiny age, I felt this like, okay, I don't like this family, like there's something wrong with these women, like there's something wrong with them. And, I feel just so off, like this can't be my family because, I'm crying and, they're saying little like comments about how I'm too sensitive and how even at 6 years old, like how am I too sensitive? But, they're making me feel like I'm some alien.
Yes.
So even from that tiny age, I felt so like, yeah, there's something desperately wrong with them and then me. So let's bring it kind of more forward into, I said, my early teens. So that stage and phase, you have the hormones, everything, is, the transitioning and all that stuff going on. But then on top of that, let's go into my individual journey of growing up completely dysfunctional within myself, and then unstable. So my family dynamic, there was no father involved. So it was just myself, my mother, and my aunt. Not in the same house, but just in the role of my development. So we have right there an imbalance, especially when you're dealing with a girl, like, and she's developing and, coming into womanhood. You have a severe damage and dysfunction and imbalance, but it's no fault of her own. But I'm just saying, like, overall, when it comes to, child development and with women, right? When the father is not present in the home and just in her world, her emotional world, her spiritual world, every aspect of who she's becoming, it's severed and it's delayed in her development. And so for me, it played out multiple ways. It played out in me, having severe anorexia. And I still have it. It's not, it's not where I am now, obviously. I'm not hospitalized, but the eating disorders, specifically for me, anorexia and bulimia, that was just the thing that I've had to come to realize was one of the ways that maybe I tried to control my environment by appearing perfect, like appearing with this perfect image, like this perfect body measurement thing.
Yeah.
And so this led into also to just my emotional dysfunctions, like me being so like moody and like angry and so sensitive to where it's like I felt crazy, but I knew I wasn't. It was because I was deeply hurting. And so this also too led me into where my mom and my aunt were adamant about me, excuse me, about me taking some type of prescription drug and having me do therapy. And mind you, while they're doing this, they had me admitted into an inpatient mental institution and had me there for days.
Well,
Really, actually.
Let me interject something, and I never really do that often. I'm going to remain quiet for the most of the time, so you can go dig deeper. If I keep interrupting you, we won't be able to be allowed to go deep. That's why I mute the phone. I mute this so it sounds dead quiet, but I'm right here. All I want to say is that you came from an extremely dysfunctional family. For those who are going to hear this, we've been talking long before this, so I know a little bit more into her situation. But from what I see, because I'm not a professional or anything, it's just my opinion. You came up in an extremely dysfunctional situation, as most of us, to different levels, some less, some more. And you were the focal point because you had a chance of having a good life, and you still do. And you're winning right now. But when you have especially a dysfunctional mother who hasn't gotten away from her hang-ups, idiosyncrasies, and trauma, then when they see you coming with a clean slate, and then you have an aunt who's cut out the same way, while on the surface they will say how glad they're in public around people, I'm just so glad to have her, she's a blessing. They turn around and do things to sabotage your chances at a good life. And they begin to resent you. And I find that there's so many mothers that, see, if you were a boy, they may not identify with you all the way. But with you being a girl child, and a beautiful girl child, I know, because you're beautiful now, that they're gonna dump their hang-ups on you because you got a chance and I got to this age and I'm so toxic. They don't think this to themselves because they think they're normal. So they do this in a way that they lie to themselves, but they end up dumping on you because you're a clean slate. And how dare you get away from the pain and suffering that they had to endure? See, you have mothers who think this way instead of the proper way, where I don't want my daughter to go through this, what I went through. So you become the enemy, and I'll shut up and let you flow. I just had to say that.
No. Thank you for that, because that is the introduction that needs to be established, because I feel like, again, the maternal, nurturing, again, I will literally, with no hesitation or question, sacrifice. And it's not even a sacrifice for me. I don't think of it as a sacrifice. It's my duty to give of myself everything that I am for my babies. I don't feel that from the women that I see, and I damn sure don't see it, from my mom and my aunt, in my immediate circle. And then because the trauma and the damage is so deep and it's real. This is why, for me, I specifically with women, right? I used to be trapped by the surface, and I catch myself slipping a little bit, depending upon, where I am within myself, comparing myself on the surface of to another woman, what she looks like, right? But that's waning, thankfully, because again, my intuitive heightened sensitivities are painfully alerting me, no, deep, go deeper. And I feel, and I can see just on how, some women appear, and that's not to say, judge on the surface, but sometimes you can just tell, most women, they're not on they're not on a level where you can assume or even just know that they're internally well. So for me, you're right. With my mother, still to this day, she just refuses to accept and acknowledge the role in which, how I was birthed into, this world, and me growing up with no father in my development, and her doing it all on her own, but not all on her own, but just, without the other half of me, which is my father, helping her. And the underlying resentment and the miscommunication and the misunderstanding and misinterpreting me is crazy, because I've heard that from her. I've heard her growing up. I mean, I've heard her say as I was growing up that I can't control her. I don't know what's wrong with her, and you have women right now who are on that vibration, who think because they work 40 plus hours a week and they feed their children and they clothe their children, that, oh yeah, I take care of my kids, you can't tell me shit type of energy in that vibration. I have to cease that. I have to destroy that delusion. Really, it's a delusion, because there is so much more that goes into the development of children, specifically girls, because I'm focusing on the girls, obviously, because we are the ones who generate life and give, life, right? And we produce humanity. So for me, if there's any women out there who are on that, they're still in the space of blaming men, I really, welcome and invite you to maybe hear my perspective, because where I'm coming from, if you're patient with me and if I am making sense to you, I know I can be over the place, but
no, I read
the
you.
perspective that I
read you. Just to understand, Black folks, that's how we talk. Girl, I went to the market today. Man, I saw this fine guy, but they had a good sale. I picked up 10 of them. I got 2 for you, and I hurt my foot later. They jump, and we were right there with it, because we have to communicate that way through what we've been through. We better be, and it's a way of us verbally encrypting our conversation, because others think in a linear way, but we jump around and confuse people with it. But we're with you. Understand that. You're doing great.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So, yes, it's us women, I don't know if you feel, and I say feel because I think as women too, that's what most of us have, not to any fault of our own, but it's been deprived from us just from the trauma and the dysfunction that most of us grow up in and endure. And maybe not from our immediate family, but from just life, experiencing and going through tribulations and, difficulties in our personal lives. I feel like the disconnect between our intuition and the maternal nurturing gift that is innate within all of us has been maimed. It's been deprived from us. Raped out of us, I guess, from some of you, because it's painfully disturbing to hear the amount of sexual traumas and abuse, especially when it happens in childhood, in your developmental stages. But it doesn't even matter what stage, just overall period.
But it's a deeper imprinting
carrying that
at that age.
Yeah, and you're right, but you carrying that. And you feeling like you can't release it. I know what that feels like, but not from the sexual perspective, but more so the agony and the depth of pain that it feels like when you have tried to open up and express yourself, you are immediately shut down. You're made to feel like, you don't have the right to express your voice. And I will say to you, if it'll help you, that I love you immensely, and I feel like I have, and I'm still on my own personal journey, but I feel like I have what's been missing in this culture of women, particularly us as Black women, melanated women, right? The originals, right? So I feel like I have something to offer and to revive back alive within our spirits, and just in the healing process, that we have a duty to our babies, because they're really trying to destroy us, all of us, but specifically us as women and our children, right? And so this whole the last like 3.5, almost 4 years have been so unimaginably, indescribably wicked, satanic. I don't even know. I keep saying like the same language, but there's no other words to describe how
That's right.
demonic what's been happening with our babies. And you know, and the unawareness and the dysfunctions and the traumas have to be purified. They have to be purged, because if you don't feel like, I don't know, like a lion, like how a lioness would be with her cubs. If you don't feel that depth and that sense of like urgency, and nothing within like the last 3.5 to 4 years has really awakened you to the realities of this world that you thought was something, and I don't know what that means for you, but I'm just saying, like, you thought that, oh, taking my child or my children to daycare, that's not harmful. What could possibly go wrong at daycare? They're with their friends, they were with people that, that love and care about them. And you're not really in tune with the energies of these beings, with your babies, because on the surface, yeah, they're smiling in your face and they're telling you, oh yeah, I love children, I've had X amount of years doing, child care, and, I'm majoring in child and development. On the surface, it's sounding,
But let me ask you,
harmless.
Let me ask you, is a child abuser and a child predator not a child predator or a child abuser when they never got caught yet? You see what I mean? So there are people out here doing things. We say, oh, their record is good. They say this. They appear to be this. But you don't know what's in somebody's heart. And anybody who is for the children will be so transparent, even in what they say is on their resume and what they say is on their words. They will move in a way that is completely transparent for you to see. I would have a camera on me at all times. In the facility that I worked in, if I was into daycare, I would keep a camera on me at all times. Anytime you want to look in and see what's going on, this is on my chest to show you what I'm doing, where I am, except for when I'm in the bathroom. So you know, because you just don't know what's in somebody's heart. Sometimes we find people who were child predators, child molesters, people who hated children, doing things to them for many decades. And then when they got caught, that one time, it comes to light. So you, in this wicked world, and this is not the Creator's natural world, but in the engineered world, where wickedness rules and satanic forces rule, you don't drop your guard 1 cent. I don't even want nobody to trust me. I'm going to show you that I'm going to earn your trust. And even after I earn it, I'm still going to be transparent so nobody can say a damn thing about what I did to somebody's child or any other situation. Go ahead, sister. I just had to interject that.
No, that was beautiful, because what I got from that is, now it's going to transition me back into, womb development and the birthing, process, right? And even before that, conception. So the state of the woman, specifically, first and foremost, spiritually, and then obviously physically, her diet, her, just her development within herself, like her sense of self. Does she love herself? And I'm not talking about like love how she looks and on the vain perspective. Right. I'm talking like, does she have the love that it requires for her to choose a man to father her children, who will be the man that will help her to raise her children into, for me, I like to say gods and goddesses, kings and queens, because I don't know about, some of you ladies out here, you women, I don't know if you're feeling what I'm feeling, but I'm feeling this disgust and this, extreme, like, let me just be frank, like, what the fuck is, this?
Let it flow.
On my planet, so I'm feeling very deeply, disgusted in the sense of the children that I'm seeing, because, I don't feel life. I don't feel love. I don't feel the gift of family and cultivating family. I feel just degeneracy, just reproducing itself, just like a cycle, right? And so, I don't know. I have a lot of emotions that obviously, I'm trying to filter out and process from my own, traumas and, things that I'm still having to deal with and purify within myself individually, but then just on the collective front, again, going back to the last 3.5 to 4 years, how are you so disconnected from what is being done to our babies? Vaccinating them and making them wear masks. Like, do you understand the level of savagery and debauchery?
Yes.
And I feel like too, depending upon what level you are, we already know that we've always been targeted and that they've been incessant and relentless on destroying us in any means possible, right? But this particular way that they've been going about it, and again, like the women and the mothers who they have their children with masks on. It doesn't matter where they are, outside, going to school. Just that alone, like, I'm so agonizingly hurt and deeply disturbed by, like, the, oh man.
Take your time, sweetheart.
By the disconnect.
Take your time.
By the disconnect because you're destroying our babies, and I can't be in the shadows and allow you to think and to feel that because you feel that, you feed your children and you take care of them, whatever that means in your world, but I have to express to you or enlighten you in some way to, I don't know, wake you up out of this nightmare that you've been, in, and no fault of your own, because again, I was in it too. I was thinking, why can't we just all, love and whatever and all the things that we've been propagated with, or at least I have. Let me just speak for myself, because, me being a deeply sensitive, some may say empathic, woman, right? Just my nature and where I'm coming from, the idealism is real for me, or it was. The illusion and the fantasy of, let's just all love and, let's not really focus on that, it's not going to bring us, progression. And, I guess I'm been transitioning from like the swan aspect, of myself into the serpent, meaning, I'm not scared of shit. I'm not scared to die. I'm not scared to lose if it means bringing forth my seeds that are to come in, in the future, and whatever it takes to give them the profound foundation. And I'm talking now specifically on a spiritual, nutritional, emotional, level and frequency. Because I feel like, especially for our babies, those are the things that are missing, including mental as well. but specifically spiritual, nutritional, and emotional. Because what I've come to piece together just by analyzing and assessing my family dynamic, and my dysfunctions and traumas that I have absorbed and have been battling with and still am, is the things that women are more in tune with in terms of when it comes to rearing children. Nutrition, spirituality, and emotion. I was telling Lance that I have always, and obviously, as a child, I didn't understand it, but I think I have the clarity now to where I can maybe express, and it could potentially awaken some of you who battle with eating disorders. For me,
Absolutely.
it was anorexia and bulimia. There was periods of binge eating, but specifically for me, it was more of the restriction or the purging of the food. And so I guess getting into that, I don't know. There's just so many layers that I feel like, as Black women, we evade, and we some of us deny it, but I don't think it's more so we're not aware, and we're not really deeply in tune, because we're so damaged within our wounds. We're damaged within ourselves. Most of us, despite our age, we're grown women with children. Some of us, most of us, and we've not really set intentions to commit ourselves and devote ourselves to a healing process and journey to benefit our children. Because I think too, that's the issue. I feel like too, it's this in the moment, selfish, I gotta focus on the survival type of thing, right? And I understand, please don't, I pray that you don't misinterpret my words, because
I never misinterpret your words. I'm with you 1,000,000%. Yeah, I'm more than what you know. We've been connected for a couple of years now, and you got to know I'm right here with you. And you know what? Any way you express yourself is not wrong. That's like telling a child that when they take a paintbrush and put it on paper, that the artwork is wrong. No, it's your expression, and it's where you are. Okay. I'm not here scrutinizing you or judging you or assessing you or grading you. I'm with you.
Okay.
To hold your hand, but you lead the way. Talk to me.
Okay. Thank you. Because I feel like, who am I to say what I'm saying right now? Because I'm still in it. I'm still having to, deal and heal as best I can with all that I've been enduring. So I hope because I never want to come across I'm trying to preach it to somebody else or acting as if, or not even, it's not acting, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say acting, but expressing myself like, some superior being. But I understand the depth and the magnitude of when you have babies, children, right? And you think that you're doing your deeds or your duties by feeding them and clothing them, but you're missing, and you are you're disconnected and you're fragmented within the most, to me, the most profound factors that goes into the development of children, right? And so back to the food thing, what I've come discovered with it, first of all, me being so deeply sensitive or empathic or whatever you want to, describe it as, I've come to have to accept with the food thing on different various levels, right? Let me go to the individual level. Let me start with that. Individual.
Take your time.
I didn't know that I was suppressing the overwhelmment of emotions and confusion within myself, and then just what I was absorbing in my environment. So I guess, and really what I've come to learn, I was medicating myself with sugar, specifically, because I was telling Lance too that as a child, I would do things, and I obviously didn't understand and didn't have the depth of clarity and, the clarity that I have now. I didn't have it as a child. I just was doing it and thinking that, I wanted this, I wanted what I wanted, and didn't really understand the depth of pain where it was coming from. So I was telling him that I would sneak into the kitchen of the home that I was growing up in, and I would drink the maple syrup, just like, from the bottle. I would just drink it like I was drinking water, enough to where it would satisfy my taste buds. So what I've come to analyze and accept from when I did that is that I was a victim of sugar addiction. And what I find too within us as Black women, we have eating disorders. Majority of us. I dare say 90% plus of us, because it's a trauma within us. It's been a trauma within our DNA, our ancestral DNA, that has never really been addressed. And if you really, really be honest with yourself and be I don't know how to say it. Maybe not biased, but just objective. Because I feel like too, when we're subjective and when we're in our emotions, that's where the denial and the evading, kind of can take over, if you will.
Yes.
Because I was in that space. I was in the space of, I don't want to deal with it, right? Or that doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't think that you have that problem, right? So yeah, Black women, we have deep, severe eating dysfunctions, eating disorders, and it comes from various factors, right? Again, for me, it was, I guess, I was suppressing and trying to control the things that I felt because I couldn't control my environment. I couldn't control the women that were around me. I couldn't control the family that I was birthed into, meaning like I couldn't control that I was growing up with a single mother. And not only that, an only child. So I didn't have, the gift that most of you probably, or some of you have, which is growing up with other, siblings. It was just me and my mom, right? And already there was a disconnect in the emotions between us. She thought that she didn't have like a control over me. Like she felt like out of control raising me. And she always threw me on my aunt, who I always felt much more deeply connected with anyway, because with my mom, it was this emotional dysfunction and trauma that she was emanating, and I felt it all. I've absorbed it, and even to this day, she still is in denial and in the dark about how I was raised. And I don't want to get like to that whole that victim thing, because I'm well.
Oh, by no means. No, this is real. This is not some label that like oh, she's just crying victim. No, this is not that. This is real. This happened to you. This is not just some crying wolf. This is not. This is an issue with many of us that, to be honest with you, sister, the effects are still on you because you're still apologizing in a way for what happened that you had nothing to do with. So by you saying, well, I'm not trying to be a victim, but in actuality, you were a victim of the emotional disconnect. It's obvious as you tell the story. So you don't have to apologize for letting it hang out, because I'm listening to your every word. I'm absorbing it. I understand where you're coming from with it. It's okay. This is not that place where you were before. I love you and care for you, and I know what you've been through. I wasn't there, of course, but as an adult, and you're an adult, you share these things with me, and I know pretty much the trajectory and the depth through my own similar things that may be completely different, right? Because in many ways I was made to feel not through my parents. And I hate to say sometimes I had a wonderful childhood. My brother was the thorn in my side, but I did. And because of that, I have a full range of love to offer from what I got. So if you don't have the cookies in your lunchbox, I got a whole bag of cookies in my bag, because it's for me to share it because of the love that I received. So by me having it coming up, I can see what you don't have. So you don't have to tell me that you're deficient in the cookies that you want. I'm here to share all that I can and able to fulfill you. So as you speak, we know that you're speaking the truth. This is your time to shine and speak forevermore on this platform. And it's okay. Never try to validate and say, well, you know, it's not. No, let it all. If you want to cuss, if you want to cuss somebody out, if you want to cry, if you want to laugh, if you want to fart, whatever it may be, it's okay to do that here. You're safe.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Because this is what you went through. Nobody can dictate to you your trauma that you received and how you see it. How dare they? The ones who dish this stuff out to you are the ones who are going to try to define the boundaries of what it is that you've been through. I hate that. I'm not going to allow it.
Yeah.
You let it hang out. Go ahead, sister.
Thank you. Because you said things that it just has me. I mean, I'm already overwhelmed, but you just said some things that I noticed within myself too, especially, just still trying to process and analyze, how I was reared and developed, right? I do. I always find myself saying I'm sorry to people, and I don't know why, because in the truth, you're right. I genuinely do not have a reason to be, but I guess because, for me, it's the love thing, I guess. Yearning to be loved and deeply loved on that, front. So I guess I'm always trying to subconsciously please people and get them to feel me and to accept me. And I'm always trying to just be whatever I can for them. And when I'm not, when they reject me, it's so indescribable to where it's I don't think that the average person, and I say average, I'm just saying most people who just are not on this magnitude of how I'm, flowing and stuff like that, they may perceive me as being dramatic or childish or whatever.
No. This is the last time I'm going to interject in a while, but here you are. Trying to make everyone happy around you, trying to please everybody around you, and they're not on the level that you are to see your heart. You think they are. You think they're going to appreciate you, but in essence, they should appreciate you as you are without you having to do anything. But yet and still, because they're selfish and inconsiderate, they take what you give without thanks, without any display of appreciation. And they would just as easily and quickly, when they're done with you, throw you down like a used rag. And it hurts you because the spirit in which you come to them is an unconditional spirit of love. But the thing is that you are waiting for something in return from them that they either can't give or do not want to give, because in their mind, it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's about survival of the fittest. And you being nice is a sign of weakness. So eventually I'm going to chop your head off and use you and get rid of you. And then it's devastating because I used to want to please people because I saw the world that way in love, because I grew up in that love. And people will even come against you like you're the enemy when they see that spirit in you that they don't have. And you, by no fault of your own, make them feel deficient because they lack what you have, and they want to make you feel bad for what you have because they don't have it. Don't you feel bad for the love that you have in your heart, but vet those who are around you before you give freely, because there are a lot of Decepticons out here that will take it and you feel good and you expect that this is just me loving you and we're sharing love with each other and whatever. I'll get in the fit and that takes up a lot of energy, because this individual A has needs and you fit yourself to fill their voids. Individual B has a different set of needs and you fit yourself like a locksmith has the special key to fit all locks. You shapeshift righteously to fulfill them, but after all of the energy that you throw out to the world to help everybody, you're left exhausted, and then here they come to stomp on you. I'll shut up on that. Go ahead, baby.
No, I don't know, like, we are so in tune, like, it's eerie for me because it's like, where have you been all my life, you know? And, but you're here now, I can assure you that,
and I ain't going nowhere. I'll be right here with you.
That's so comforting. You have no idea. But where I was, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I think I was talking about,
pleasing people.
Yeah, always being sorry. Yeah. And I guess, you know, being honest and why I was doing that. Obviously the love, the lack and the, you know, the non-existent love that I did not ever receive on the foundational front, you know, in my foundational development and my sense of self. So, you know, growing up and stuff, I always had like this depth of attachment to people. And when they would leave me or when something would happen to like sever us, it would be very difficult for me to get over it. This is why too, I find that, connecting with people and specifically men, it's not just this, I don't know, it's not like a one and done, as they say. It's like a whole, like, movie or process that I have to go through individually because of how deep and real that I am, like real talk. I feel like I'm rare because I think too.
You are?
The issues between, you know, us, you know, black women and black men, the dysfunctions and the trauma and the blaming, I feel like I have to give my perspective and hopefully enlighten specifically the men, because I think too, you know, they're trapped in this black women are not shit type of vibe, or the things that they've just been regurgitating from other people and not really listening to themselves, not really analyzing and processing their own individual experience, and then two, not understanding the propaganda, right? And so the brainwashing is really real, but even still, most men still, black men, you know, they still, you know, they still want to blame, but luckily, or if not luckily, I don't know how you want to, you know, perceive it, but fortunately, if I may say, to where I can understand, they're hurt and damaged just like us, if not more, because they came from and through us. So it's just it's parallel. It's not even anything to, like, you know, have to contemplate, you know, for, you know, long periods of time. It's just, if we as, you know, mothers and, you know, aunties and just women acknowledge that we have been, like, I don't know, unimaginably traumatized and damaged, but it's not just in our family structure, it's ancestral. It's deep in our DNA. You can refer to slavery. I'm not sure, if some people get triggered by that, because what I'm also coming to find too in my healing process is, like, I must, by any means possible, return back to my roots, because I fully accept and acknowledge that I've been, not only brainwashed, but I've just been so denatured. Meaning, like, I'm not a fucking European. I'm, I have African.
I like the way you said that.
I mean, listen, look, I'm flowing, and it's the truth, and I feel so liberated saying that, because, again, going back to, the dysfunction in my childhood, I aspired to be like the white girls. I aspired to be like them, look like them, and, thought that they were just so much more, so, like, godly. And it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I now see the severe damage that has been imprinted on me, but again, no fault of my own, but I'm fully and deeply proudly acknowledging myself as the African goddess mother, original woman, womb man mother that I am. And my roots, I need them, because, going back to, the food thing, and I keep bringing it up because there's something about it that's rooted in us as women, and then how we nurture, right? So what I've come to have to accept and acknowledge within myself is that, the food thing was a mechanism of control. What I've come to learn, like, in my research and how it correlates with slavery, right? So I want to enlighten us all that, the food thing and nutrition for us as, melanated beings, it has always been designed to destroy us. Like, that is what was done to our ancestors. That's how they controlled them, through food and alcohol, right? But specifically nutrition, by destabilizing, the health of our ancestors, so they could remain controlled and enslaved and under a spell, if you will, like spiritually dead and disconnected. Because if you think about it, and I know I'm over the place, but I think I'm going somewhere with this, because how I'm trying to piece it together, it's flowing to where it brings me clarity, and I hope it brings somebody else clarity too. So, if you think about it, and if you just delve into our roots, we are the magicians, the spiritual beings, the healers, the sages, all the things that, now is glamorized as new age, and, oh my gosh, veganism and spirituality, that's all us. And everything is us. That's why too, this is so, it's like a rebirth that I've been going through, because, again, it's like everything that I thought I was, or how I was perceiving myself, it was so warped and distorted. And I've come to find, even just with the nutrition and the food and health thing, that we are health, that we are the epitome of health. So if you think about it, when they enslaved us, our ancestors, they captured us, they had to control us, they had to literally destroy us in all ways to, I guess, morph them into them, meaning these Europeans, right? And I guess lower us into this physical, mundane, limited sense of being, when we're not. We are
We are cosmology. This is why they do everything to control us. But specifically with the food thing, think about it. Like, if your health is destable or destabilized, you're not in tune with, you're not in tune with anything other than primitive reptilian survival, impulses, if you will. So, what are we synonymous to as Black people, right? Sex, food, indulgences, right? Anything that gives us like pleasure. So, and think about just, the white culture. If you really, really pay attention, if you really, 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 I don't know, I would advise, like, maybe fasting for like 7 days, 7 to 9 days. Just fasting, like starting with like getting your body purified, and then just begin to just really observe and really, really, really like analyze and assess and question. First of all, yourself, always. That's where it always should start. But then just in your environment, like really assess like the people and watch their body language and what they're saying. Because if you have the sensitivity, like how I do, where I can just feel trauma and dysfunction or imbalances emanating from certain or most people, you will just find that, there's nothing at all, I don't know how to even say it, superior in any way, intelligent, gifted, beautiful about these, white people that we've been brainwashed to think that are better than us, right? Or in any way. And so that's where I have come to understand, and I'm so blessed because I know, I don't think I know. Let me stop doubting myself like you back in the gym, like you told me to. I know that we suffer because of that. We suffer because we are still tethered to them. We are still enslaved by them. And what I've come to, I guess, discover, as deeply painful as it is, but it's so liberating, with the nutrition and the health and the food thing, it was used to enslave us. This is why, the food thing and the nutrition thing, us as women and our men as well, everyone, all of us as family, we, like, as a melanated family, right? Our health is it's a part of our foundation that has not been cultivated, like in the true African sense. And I don't know if some of you are offended when I say that, because, I've also come to discover and realize that most of us, again, we don't want to even talk about, the depths and the traumas, because, it's in the past, and it's, and we keep harping on slavery and all, the things that we've heard some of us say when subjects like this come about. And, I find that in this era that we're in, you can refer to it as the age of Aquarius or whatever. I refer to it as the age of fulfillment, prophecy fulfilling itself, our ancestors, ancestral prophecy fulfillment. What I'm subconsciously picking up from the masses is that you are not escaping all that you are seeing and have seen or endured if you refuse to return back to your roots. And really, I'm not saying African, you can say indigenous or whatever, but again, going into the depths of who you really truly are, and not who you think that you are, because again, you know, most of us are out here, you know, in a way that we're thinking that we're normal and that, you know, we're adulting, as they say, and we have our children and we are making money and we're, you know, living our lives. But I mean, are you really? And have I really? And I know that I haven't. This is why all that I've been through, and it's clear now, it's because I've subconsciously been rebelling against this, as I like to mention it or refer to it, a plantation, because there's no difference for me now, especially not now, of slavery, plantations, and being slaves, you know? For me, the liberation that I'm on right now is my health. Nutritionally, specifically. So, you know, addressing and acknowledging, and then obviously, being in the action space of, I guess, triumphing my eating disorders and the dysfunction between it, because again, we don't want to acknowledge that we have eating dysfunctions and eating disorders, because again, we're thinking that eating is normal, and especially with us, you know, we just, I guess we live to eat, and so for me, we have to, or I have to, I don't know about anybody else, but I must, because for my seeds that I'm going to, you know, produce in the future, and I have to prepare the foundation for them, I cannot allow them to be poisoned and have their health destabilized and have them enslaved and controlled by something that was deliberately and intentionally designed to destroy us and keep us in a certain state, you know, of control, and really be perpetual slaves. I don't know if I hope I'm not being insulting, but that's just what I feel. And the correlation is so strong, because I've discovered with specifically sugar, the immense agony and the painful history behind it. I've come to discover things that brought me so much clarity, and it's freed me from the dysfunction. Now I'm in the process of healing, but I have the clarity now as to why I've always been just deeply disturbed and traumatized by food, right, and eating. Could I just tell you what it is? I don't know if
You can,
because
all the floodgates are open. There are no restraints here, sweetheart. And you don't have to apologize for anything. Everything that you're comfortable with revealing and sharing, I'm comfortable with it. So go right ahead.
Okay, because, you know, I'm just really hypersensitive and considerate about the levels that we're all on, and it may trigger some of us, or it may just be dismissed, but I have to say it for those who it may help, because obviously, you know, and I'm just in a space where I'm trying to be free flowing. It's difficult because all my life I've just felt fine, but I'm gonna go ahead and just share what I've discovered. So, me individually with the sugar thing, I've come to discover that with our ancestors, it was used to control them. But also too, it was the pinnacle of the enslavement of our ancestors. So, you know, the history with picking sugarcane in the field, right? But then delving even deeper, coming to find that sugar is a drug that that I didn't like. I didn't even, you know, I had no idea really, let's just be simple and just say it like that. I had no idea. And obviously, we grew up hearing, from these beings. I don't even know if we're calling people who are qualified to even told us anything, but we've heard, oh, don't eat too much sugar because your teeth and all this stuff, your health. But like I mentioned multiple times already, that the food trauma and the dysfunctions that I have suffered just from my upbringing and development, it wasn't for any reason, and it was from a young age, like 8 years old, 9 years old, and just it would just get much more intense and much more potent in my distaste of it, like just my rejection of it. And so, yeah, going back to the sugar thing, I've come to discover that it was a drug. And not only is it a drug, it's a narcotic drug that nulls and desensitizes, your sense of awareness and your sense to feel. So if you're following what I'm trying to correlate, if you look at beings now, you look at our people specifically, I'm talking about us, right? Always us now. If you look at us and if you really be honest and just be frank and with yourself first, but then obviously, in your environment, we are desensitized, and we're so unhealthy and dysfunctional in our state of physicality, obviously, but then just internally, like we're food addicts, or we're sugar addicts, because really, I've also had to come to the truth that sugar isn't everything. It's in everything. And really too, that's unfathomable for most of us, because again, we're thinking that, oh, well, if it doesn't taste sweet, I don't taste the sugar. Yeah, I had to process that, and still am, because if the sugar is in everything, that's the main ingredient, or the method of control that has been used to keep us in control, or to keep us desensitized. So for me, I'm at a place now where, the eating thing, I'm still very traumatized to where I can't really eat, and I don't want to eat anything. And I know that's not healthy. And let me be careful what I'm about to say, because I'm not trying to trigger any more dysfunction, like any more dysfunctional eating patterns. I'm aware of this, so let me not go there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a struggle, because what I guess I'm trying to get at is this: for all this time, I've felt this way, but then I would be triggered and deeply penetrated and challenged in me not wanting to eat, or me just being hyper aware of what food has done to me and made me feel. So in my family, let's just take it back there. In my individual family dynamic, there's no hyper conscious awareness of nutrition and the spirituality and the spiritual history and lineage of food and eating. There's no understanding of it. So you're just eating, right? You just think it's food, or my family just think it's food. And I have books from Dr. Africa, Dr. Laila Africa. I think some of us are familiar with him. I know that for me individually, he was my liberator in me understanding, at least enough. I'm not really fully, not like a master or like some expert, but again, it has revealed to me what I've been suffering with for all my life thus far, right? And so I have his books. I have
I have two of his
The
books.
books that,
Yes,
yeah.
when I first purchased those books back in the 80s, I walked around with both of them in my bag for like 2 years, just reading it over and over. Highly addictive in a good way.
Yes. Are you sick? I have his books right now in my bag, right now. Like literally, I have Nutrition Destruction of Black People, and then I have African Holistic Health. His books that talk about addictions and sugar and stuff like that. So that's where I'm deriving the information from. If anybody's interested in those books, or just him, period. Dr. Laila Africa. He has a website and stuff like that. You can purchase supplements and books. His wife, Dr. Stevenson. I was recently at her house. However, that's not what I'm going into today or tonight because that's a whole show within itself. Just what happened when I was there, in her space, and but I won't get into that. I want to go back to what I was saying about getting clarity. So for me, I think I have finally reached a stage where, dysfunctional patterns, addictions, I'm so triggered by them to where I personally cannot tolerate. I'm talking about accepting it. I'm not talking about calling the person out. I would never. I would, and I know I know you know that because this is a thing where again, this is generational, and then two, we're still in this state of denial and really ignorance too, honestly, and it's unfortunate because we are in the era and the space, and we have been for a while, where we have access to knowledge that at a certain point in time, yes, it was hidden from us, it was deprived from us. But it's like, I think some of us have been told from other people, who are spiritually awake and who are trying to help others awaken or come into their own spiritual path of healing. We've been told that some of our people that the knowledge or what you yearn to know, if you even yearn, because I don't know if that even most of us even want to know, even still, despite all that's been happening, because I feel like, again, the desensitization of most of us is so severe to where it's like, I don't know if there's even a revival for most of us because it's that serious, it's that severe, and
Yes.
that's just to say, that's how I feel. I feel so drained waking up each day and trying to put on this facade of normalcy. And I'm talking facade meaning when I encounter these beings who I know and feel are soulless, smiling at them, and while I see them with masks on and they greet me with this, "Oh, how are you doing?" fakery, fuckery.
Yeah, like they really care. It's just a generic, not all you can eat, but a generic one size fits all. That's what I meant to say for everybody. And they don't want an answer, They just say it to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking at them just so in this, are you really doing this? Are you really wearing this thing over your face? But I try not to, I was telling you earlier, I try not to be in that space because I get pulled into that really deep. I go into the negative, I go into that space and I try to really, not be in that, vibration because again, that's pulling me from where I'm trying to remain, which is focusing on self, healing, love, deeper understanding of myself and what I've, endured, and then,
everything else. But yeah, so it's uh, it's more than a battle for me. I don't think battle is even trying to penetrate what I'm trying to express, but it's like waking up to death every day or every night or whenever you wake up and stuff. It's waking up to lifelessness. Like you're the one alive and trying to ascend into or ascend back to your true nature, which is love and compassion and maternal or paternal energy, expressing itself through nurturing and care of children and family and others, but then your environment and the beings around you are reflecting the complete opposite. It's very, it's the conundrum that is very perplexing and very disheartening to accept because, I don't know. Because again, I think most of us are just not really where we could be in terms of, being hyper aware of just, what's happening. And I'm trying to hold it in because I'm all over the place and it's so much to where I don't want to be like some blabbering. Like I don't want to be just like crying.
No. I'm with you, and this is why I'm allowing you to talk and just without interrupting so much because you're flowing, and it's like a piñata. When they blindfold you at a party and they have this big round container and you're supposed to swing at it, but you can't see it. Then the candy comes dropping down. When you hold things in or things, whether not holding it in, but in life, you just don't have the opportunity to express it on a regular level to keep it out of you. And then when it really, you have a chance to let it come out, people will be helped by what you say and you get a chance to get it off. It's like you take one of those big water jugs that they have at the office, right? And at the water cooler and you open it, but you don't put it by the water cooler. You turn it upside down real quick. And for a split second, nothing comes out until you hear. And at first, it's like gravity's confused. The water's confused. Like you get this little opening in this big container, and then it starts to come out. And so you're not all over the place. It's like the piñata with candy all over the place, or the water that's hesitating to come out. It comes out in such a rush that your mind can't monitor. Like, am I putting this out in an orderly fashion? No, don't worry about that. Just let it come out. And let us pick up the pieces as we need. Okay? Because
I'm about to go into some things that you're not going to really, I don't know how you're going to feel about it because what I've endured the last almost 4 years has been it's been so dramatic. And I don't even know if I don't even know because it sounds like it sounds like when I try to express it, like I don't know, some movie. But I'm telling you, this is what I have had to endure, and what I'm currently at. So I don't know if I don't know if your energy is drained or waned. Because again, I'm hyper aware.
Let me tell you.
I'm already trying to.
I'm like the cell phone who's 100% charged, and I'm still sitting on the charger. So there's no way of draining me. I can talk, and I'm still going to be 100%. It's Sunday. I had a good night's sleep. I have a ton of good material to put out later on, and I'm having a wonderful conversation right now of healing. And you couldn't. And if you did, what a proper way to be drained in helping someone to heal, as opposed to the parasitic entities out here who will go in with the purpose of draining you and won't stop until you're completely spent. So You can't drain me. I'm right. This is a divinely timed conversation because we've been trying to connect, and I get a flood of messages, and I got a new phone and lost numbers and kept some. So when you called, we talked for a while privately, and then I said, well, this one part, let's talk about it and share it. And here we are. So look, not because of the chronological age, but my next birthday, I'm going to be 60 years old. Sweetheart, there ain't nothing I haven't seen and experienced in this world. You know, and I don't mean to downplay your trauma, which is the trauma of many.
No, you're not.
But I've tasted a lot from the buffet of life that right now I'm pretty much you can't shock me, you can't drain me. As a matter of fact, I have enough in me to overwhelm you with love and healing and the removal of your trauma. You see what I mean? So feel free to even try, but you're not trying. But don't think you're draining me, because like that's what I'm here for. That's one of my purposes on this earth, for the righteous ones who seek to heal, not just somebody who is continually caught up in trauma. Or you like that woman who 40 years ago a man broke up with her and she's we broke up. No, wait a second. You know, you got to get over that one, you know. But this here from childhood and things that you've addressed, but you didn't have the opportunity to have it reflected back to you that somebody understands you. This is not draining, because this is helping you and the world, and you are to be applauded for coming on and going to that place in a very public way. You're stronger than me.
No. I'm not scared. I'm not scared because I have to. Like it's my duty. I feel it's so strong within me, because like I know that there are babies around, like, you know, amongst us right now who are like me, where it's like they just know that this world is like it's evil, it's everything that is opposite of them, and they're trapped around these beings who are thinking they're just they're thinking that it's some normal, you know, it's just life type of thing. And so I think I have a duty in my own way. I'm still not clear into where it is, well, like what it is. But yeah. So I think I'm gonna fade into what happened, and this is what I've been trying to tell you over the last, I don't know how long it's been, but ever since we talked, I've been like desperately dying to express this, because like this, all that is happening again, it really is not, you, first of all, you can't finesse it, like I already mentioned to you. And so everything that I'm about to express to you, despite how it may come across or how it may sound like just so like maddening and crazy, but it is the truth, and it's what some of us have, not a lot of us though, mind you, but some of us have been facing. So let me gather myself, because I may start hysterically crying.
There's no crime in that. That, you know what that is? That's just emotional sweat. That's all it is.
Okay. So let me go back 2 years. 2020. So when all of this foolery was popping on, and again, when I say foolery, I'm talking about, we know what it is. We know that it's all a ploy, and it's all just, you know, fear tactics and ungodliness and savagery and all the above. You know, we're gonna choose D, all of the above. So
that's
right. Going back to 2020, I was with my aunt at her house. I guess occupying the same, you know, space as her for the time being, you know, trying to get myself stable financially and then, you know, get my own place. But that just was not working. It wasn't panning out. I was still in this I don't know what I'm doing with my life type of energy and mode. And so I, at the time, had my car. and I drove to Indianapolis, because from where I am originally, was born and raised, was Fort Wayne, Indiana. Not Gary, Indiana, but Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I drove to Indianapolis, and I have an aunt who lives there. She still is there, but I was seeking her help. I was seeking, clarity in terms of, taking a pivot in what I was doing, because what I was doing was working these plantation jobs, merely out of survival mode, meaning like, as long as I have money in my bank account, right? So I'm not like having to beg other people, or not other people, like my mom and my aunt, for financial assistance and help, right? So I was just seeking out her insight and her resources, like in terms of network connections, because again, I'm no social person by any means. So I'm not out here, or I never have been, at least, not yet, trying to establish connections with people, because, we know how I am. But, so I was seeking her out for that reason. And, going into what she did, she has this house in Indianapolis, and mind you, she is a single woman. She, lives by herself, but she has like 2 spare bedrooms, and, I'm her great niece. So this is my this is my father's aunt. So, yeah, I, in my mind, I thought she was going to offer me space, to stay with her. But it wasn't like just chill and relax and just, kick up your feet and do nothing type of mode. I was in the, ambitious, like, okay, let me get really, focused and, deliberate in what I'm trying to do here, which is like get myself financially stable and, get much more opportunity to do something that is not draining me, right? And so, basically she sent me to this, women's shelter in Indianapolis, where I had to, be in the midst of other women. And mind you, they were traumatized. They were severely traumatized and damaged. So that alone, and me being in the same state and being, it was like my environment was reflecting what I was currently going through and having to face, right? So at this woman's house, the house that I was sent to, a lot of just dysfunction and trauma going on, but I was the one attacked. There is a specific woman who did not like me, because I stayed to myself, and, I don't know, I was just not on the energy that she was. But it was never out of disrespect. It was very just, I'm doing my thing. We may have to share this room, but, I'm over here. You're doing your thing. But it was just this underlying penetration of like jealousy, really. Jealousy, maybe envy, but really jealousy. Cause I dare not say envious. I don't know why. I don't know. But, and just not liking, cause it's like I was not speaking. I was not making myself like known to where she could like understand me. So therefore I was attacked psychically, energetically, by what she would do to me, right? Or what she tried to do. So, but then come to find at the end of my stay at that house, we somewhat had a cordial understanding. Now, it was a facade for me. Like, I did not accept it. I didn't accept her apologies or whatever, because she did a lot of things that it's kind of overwhelming to go into. Cause I'm trying to get to where I am now. But, yeah, a lot of things that were done to me, and mind you, unwarranted. Like, and we know this. It was purely spiritual, psychic attacks. because I, you know, I really didn't think anything much of them. I already knew where they were. And again, me being an only child and having to occupy space with strangers, and mind you, dysfunction, cause I think too, the last 4 years, or almost 4 years, excuse me, I've been trying to escape and heal from the dysfunction that I was birthed into. And it's like I could not get away. It's like every place, or not place, but the things that I've endured thus far, it's like the dysfunction and the chaos, it would not like let me get out of the chokehold, if you will. So yeah, I loved that house because things happened there. Things weren't really progressing for me there. So I was placed by the great aunt in Indianapolis again to this other transitional house for women. And it was the same thing there. Just different faces, but the energy and the vibration was still the same. Dysfunction, trauma, not being clear in self, sense of self, no direction, and it was disturbing because I would be in the room. Now, in this particular house, there is a room that I didn't have to share. I had my own space, my own room. But in that room, it was between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. that, I would just be deeply connected with my ancestors and God, or the Most High, and just being hysterical in tears about why. Like, I'm just trying to heal. I'm trying to escape all the things that, and not in like an escapist, like bad, like avoidance way. If anything, I've been trying to understand, like, why has this happened? Like, what is the purpose of all of this, right? And so, cause like I was saying, how it's like I've been trying to escape this, and it's like keeping me in a bind, but I'm not doing things to, or I haven't done things to warrant that. Like, I'm actively trying to, and have been, like, again, seeking clarity. And it was in that time, it was around it was winter, I believe. So, it was when I was listening to you about, things that were going on and what they're doing and stuff like that, and how this whole, I don't want to say the thing, but the ploy, the agenda, the plandemic, as we say it, right? It was all intentional on how you were breaking down, how it was to distract us and everything like that. I was, it was like you were keeping me strong, and you still are, but like in those moments specifically, you were keeping me just like,
thank you,
afloat. And so, you will never understand, but so at that house, it was the same thing. So I had to leave from there. But then again, the aunt from Indianapolis, again, put me in she kept doing the same thing. It's like she refused to, well, they refused, but she just didn't want me, I guess, occupying her house with her. Like, we just were not that close, and we never were. So I really, honestly and truly didn't expect anything from her, because she's dysfunctional within herself. She's a victim of rape, or molestation at a young age, and has not done any healing work. And I'm not judging, I'm just expressing, right? She's not done any healing of her own, at least to where I am, knowing of, and that can make the difference in me acknowledging that she's traumatized. Because I'm not trying to say like I know her, I don't, because she's obviously been through things and has done things that to where she is now, she's not where she was. She's, established within herself, but there's still this disconnect between her and I that always has been. And I'm not sure if she even loves me or likes me, because, we just never had that connection. So going back to that, she put me in this third transition house for women. And it was the same thing. I kid you not. But this time, the faces that were in the or that were in my environment was older people. It was these 2 or 3. It was this white man and 2 white women, right? They were all older, but it was this one black woman who was running the house. Jasmine Sanders. Or I thought she was. I was deceived, as I came to, later discover. She was, the one running the house, and when I had the initial conversation with her, I was expressing to her, I'm on a spiritual path here, and I said it in a way where, again, I was expressing to her how my family is like, they're just not where I am. They're trying to force me to take this vaccine, and they're saying to me, like, if I don't take it, I can't be around them, and how I'm, putting them in danger, and I'm being selfish, and all of these things. And she postured herself for me to trust her, because she was talking about how, she was spiritual as well, and she understood. But then when I got in the house, it just, that all dissipated. And it just turns out she was an imposter herself, because she, has said and done things to me, like in terms of like trying to help me, that, it just, it didn't pan out well. And so I had to leave from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically have been homeless since that time. I've been homeless since 2020. So I've been like I don't know how I've been doing it. I've been to Florida, California, and back to Fort Wayne. But I recently left Fort Wayne to come to this event in California, and I'm in the predicament where I was in 2020 and 2021, because they're still adamant about me getting this vaccine, and I have not, and obviously I never will. But I'm saying to you that I'm in the predicament that I was in when I was in 2020, where I am currently in a college campus, but I'm not a student here. I'm not enrolled in college, right? So, but I'm trapped here because I don't have any means to get anywhere. And it's not just, and I don't want to go back to Fort Wayne. I need to be with my tribe. I need to be with my soul family, like you. I know you're in Ghana, but I'm just saying, like, I need to be somewhere where there's no dysfunction, because I don't have my own place. I don't have anything yet, but that's for a reason, because the people that I thought was family have completely I don't even know if they understand what they've done to me these last 4 years, on top of already what they've done to me just growing up. Like, they have completely just denounced me because I have not, and I will never take the vaccine. And so they just will not help me. They think that I'm crazy. They think that, why are you doing all this? Just, you need to really get your life in order. You're 26 and all these things, throwing it in my face, and they don't know what is in this vaccine. They don't know anything about it. And they've already taken it. And I can't be around them. And it's like, I don't have nothing. Let me
interrupt you, sweetheart. You have the world.
Yeah.
And there are things specifically for you in the world that are destined for you that you don't know yet. You don't realize it yet. But your yearning, your righteous yearning for all things wholesome, is sending a signal up to the universe that it's coming for you. You just don't see it.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel it right now. It's going to feel on a human level like you have nothing, you have nobody. But look how long in my life I've lived in America, and I found myself out here in the motherland. And there's issues out here in government and culture adjustment and people adjusting to me and all those different things. But it's not that here is just the answer. It could be anywhere physically on the earth, but the main thing is within yourself. And these are growing pains. And you are the butterfly who is struggling to get out of the cocoon that seems to be holding you back, but you're not a caterpillar anymore.
Yeah.
See, so it's coming.
I know.
It's coming. Look at your chronological age and look at mine. So could you imagine, even though our walks are different, how many years it took for me to get here? It may not be that long for you. But when you're in it, you feel
sure?
it. Oh, I can guarantee you that. You're going to get it long before I did. Trust me.
Because I feel like again, like, I know I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes, like, just the voice in my head will take over, and it's like, yeah, you really are, like, you really are wilding, as they say, but I know I'm not, because I know what this whole world is, and I know what it's trying to do to me, and not just me, all of us who are anointed, chosen, whatever, and the agenda on just humanity at large. Like, I know so much things that my family and most people will never know. That's why, again, it's so, like, I'm just trying to help myself get stable, and, like, nobody around me, and obviously I'm talking about my family, right? You know, they're thinking, well, or, we can't help you, or, we're not going to help you if you don't do this. Because that's been the thing too, this blackmailing ultimatum thing, where I had to do certain things that they proposed in order for them to help me. So, but I said no. Not to their face, but just my action. Like, I just said no, I'm not. I'm not. So, I don't know. Right now, I'm in Long Beach right now. But it's not because I'm gonna be here. It was because for this event that I attended last night. But I didn't make any connections with the people there because the energy, it's just, I don't know. And it was overwhelming because I don't attend events and stuff like that. But obviously that's gonna be challenging because how am I gonna connect with people who maybe potentially, have enlightenment or something that I need, But I'm going through that journey and that process of having to be faced with that because, again, I'm going through lessons and stuff like that that's why I didn't want to, like, preach and be like, like I know it all or even a little bit, because I don't. But yeah, the last 4 years, almost 4 years, has been like, I don't know, some like cryptic nightmare that that just has me truly, like, I guess permanently changed, like, in the sense of, like, I'm very clear on, again, me being on the straight and narrow for my path, and then again, just doing my purpose that I was sent here to do, and then just ascending onward, if you will, because nothing in this dimension has me trapped anymore.
Understood.
Because I'm going to ensure that it doesn't. This is why I'm so adamant about healing, and healing on the cellular level. I'm not talking about on this, like, again, like this new age, like, what is it? It's like some trend, which is why I can't stand media. I completely detest it, and I only watch your channel. I watched this sister, Professor Melanie, the Spirit Doula, her channel.
Yes. I've spoken with her directly.
Yes.
I still want to have a little interview with her. She's really good.
Wow. What? Yes. Just like breaking down the clarity of, all that's happening. So, yeah, those just very select few people that I tune into every now and then, but for the most part, I'm just very quiet and, like, no noise, no music, no nothing, because, I find too, like, with all that I've been through, it's very difficult to connect, with myself. like internally into, my ancestors and stuff like that. So I have to have nothingness, like, So yeah, it's really, really, I don't know how to even describe it. It's more than deep. It's just very, I'm not sure. I just know that, I need help, but I don't know where to go. Like, I don't know what to do because, again, this area is not familiar to me, and I'm not trying to be here, but I'm trying to get myself stable and financially stable, but it's not panning out because there's nobody around me who is on the level of why I'm in this situation. Because on the outside looking in, it's like, oh, okay, why are you broke at 26? Or why are you homeless at 26? And that's why too, like, even saying it, it's so detrimental and just traumatizing even more to keep having to justify or even express to them, this is why I'm in this predicament, right? It's not because of like careless, reckless choices. That's, it's because I'm been under severe attack, but they're not gonna see it like that. So I don't know I don't know how to proceed forward from this because I can't stay in this college campus because obviously, tomorrow's Monday and these students are going to come and I'm not a student and I'm not trying to be blended in and perceived as one because they're just, a bunch of mindless zombies, with masks on and vaccinated and everything like that. And I'm trying to get out of here from the place that I am. I just don't have a ways to do so. So, but I need my tribe with me. I need my family because I'm talking about my soul family because there's nobody in my immediate circle who is where I am, and then obviously what has been happening with us, like just those of us who've been going through this like ordeal of like escaping all of this. So I don't know what to do. I really don't because I've been in the shelter already. And I was attacked in a shelter. I'm talking about like from women, not like physically, thankfully. But again, the same thing that happened with the first house in Indianapolis. Just psychically attacked, spiritually attacked. And again, just being in my own space, trying to just be separate and not, not be bothered. But then obviously, because I'm not saying anything, they're taking it as like a threat. Which again, I'm aware of this. It's just it's deeply disturbing and hard because I'm trying to figure out what to do from here. Because again, all the dysfunction in California and all the drugs and the addictions, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be around it, but I'm trying to just, stay as far away from that as possible. It's difficult because, like, how do I do that and not, have to be exposed to that stuff, trying to seek help and stuff like that? Because I don't know. I don't know this area. And again, I already had people try to approach me with, trying to smoke. And it's like I'm in this it's like I'm in the darkness and I can't get out of it, and I'm so drained. I don't know.
It took time to get to this point, and it's going to take a little time to come out of it all the way, and you will feel emotions and frustration. It's like me when my work area around my computers are full of gadgets and little wires because if I go videotape, I got to grab this, grab that for this camera. No, but I'm going to use this camera today because it's sunny. I'm going to do this one because I'm walking. I'm going to do face shot. So I'm grabbing stuff. After I clean up, I come back and wait a second. Everything's all over the place and I don't know where to start. So when you're in something, it's a synergistic effect where what is there seems like 10 times more. And it's like, where do I start? And it's like so overwhelming. Take one aspect, one thing, and say, you know what? I'm going to work on this one part until it's done, and methodically. Don't even look to see if the whole room is clear yet. Just do one thing at a time and keep moving forward. And you're going to find yourself in the clear so fast, or faster than you thought. It'll be unbelievable. Trust me. I've been there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, like, I understand that, like, where I am, this is like my refining process still going on. Cause I thought I had some type of, not a grip, but like, I thought I was out of the fire enough to where, like, again, like, I'm clear on why I had to go through the things that I did, but I'm not done yet. So, yeah, it's cause you think I'm gonna go back to what I'm coming from? That makes no sense to me, cause I think too, there's like this element of desperation to where you subject yourself to things in the name of comfort and familiarity. And I refuse. I can't, because that's disrespectful and disgraceful. First of all, to me, because if I've been through, the depths of hell, as they say, how could I return back to it? Despite me, it being an option of comfort or familiarity, but I can't, because all it's been done to me. And they still think that I'm, crazy, and think that I need to be, on medication and, hospitalized. And so I just am gonna have to, yeah. But I don't know I don't know what's safe place, because I don't, like, the people here, I just don't trust them. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I don't trust, approaching people and asking them for help. I'm talking like directing me. I'm not talking about like asking them for money, because I just, I don't need to do that. But asking them like for insight and stuff, because there's like this depravity, and I just don't, I can't expose and risk myself to that. But nonetheless, I don't know I don't know, because it's very just strange right now, because, I'm processing and analyzing what I've been through the last almost 4 years, but then also just overall, and then trying to, like we talked about earlier, just trying to still maneuver and keep in at least a neutral space. But it's very it's more than difficult. It's like, it is growing pains. But see, I can't return to what I've been, because that makes no sense. That's devolution. And for me, I can't be exposed to anything or anyone who is in that state of addiction, dysfunction, and, trauma and dysfunction. Because, I'm going to absorb it, and I'm going to be triggered, and it's not going to, pan well if I'm in those, like, if I'm around people who, who are in that state, and most people are. That's why, again, this is very difficult, because I'm not, because I know that it takes action to obviously, make connections, but again, I can't expose myself, even out of my need right now of help. I can't, because it makes no sense. Because I'm desperate, but I'm not desperate to where I allow my soul to be taken over, right? Or to be further damaged than it already is. So, it's a lot, but I don't know. Maybe I can Google something, I'm not sure, because, again, I'm not familiar with Long Beach, whatever, and just, it's not even, there's nothing beachy about it. It's very just dull and very, I don't know what the appeal is about California. I never really got the vibration, but, that's because it's glamorized and these things, and, propagandized, but, yeah, so, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I said so much. I said a lot. Are you drained? Because I'm drained.
I'm sitting down on the cell charge and I'm still 100%, but don't push yourself more than what you can. You know, we can eat a really big meal, but we can only eat one serving, one forkful at a time. And in getting this out, sometimes it could take you back and leave you drained because you had to go back there to, you know, assess differently with the increased wisdom that you have now. So we can bring it to a close for now, and then we can still have private conversations and some other ones, but I just guarantee you that this is definitely going to help somebody. And that's what I meant to tell you in the beginning. When you feel the energy going down, it's good to back off, because you will, like brakes that are worn down, it'll start to squeak to warn you that after this little thin wafer of a brake is done, we're going to start cutting down into the rotors, which is going to be more damage. So we don't want to cut to the rotors. We want to recharge from this, reflect on this, look at the feedback that comes in the comments and the appreciation that I'm guarantee you will come, and take our time when you're ready again. No pressure. See, every planet has its own orbit around the sun. Mercury is every 88 days, so it's frequent around the sun before it goes around. A year on Mercury is 88 days, right? That's a little less than 3 months here. So in 1 year for Earth, it's 4 years for Mercury. And other planets have further orbits that take longer than Earth. So whatever your orbit is around the platform, let it be. But our personal conversations, there's no limit. And you will see, and it will help you and it will help others, and you'll feel a sense of satisfaction that your pain wasn't endured and experienced in vain. That's really what I want to get to, where you can see that you did this and you didn't do it, you endured it, but now you are a hero and a helper to someone who is back in that place, even though you're not all the way out of the storm. But what you've learned is so valuable to help to guide them out of it. And whoever came ahead of you, who has said words, whether they said it in a fractional, where you watched the whole program and they said one sentence that helped you to get one step ahead, or they had a whole program where everything they said, they helped you, whether they knew it or not. You'll be sleeping somewhere and somebody will be playing these words that you shared, and it'll be helping them, and you're sleeping. You know what I mean?
Wow.
When you come out into complete healing, which 99.9% of us on this earth are still healing from some type of trauma, different types. Every day, if you take a step forward in your realization of what needs to be done and what has happened in your assessment, then you'll understand more. But you'll see that it was not in vain, and it was to help someone, and you'll be rewarded divinely for that, with a peace of mind that you never knew that you could ever experience. For me to give you a timeline, I can't tell you that. I don't know. I had to wait until maybe the last few months to feel a thing I always wanted. But 30 years ago, I felt things that I didn't feel at 20. So it happens. Just make sure to hold on to it and not let it fall away because of the perceptions and attacks of others who don't want you to know how much you've earned in this life. You see?
And I feel like so old. I feel like 26. Like and I've always felt like old, like older than I am, like in my physical age. But then just like I just feel so like old, like tired and drained. Like they say old soul, but I don't like to say it like that. But I guess you can refer to it as such. But yeah, just like drained and like, yeah, I don't feel 26. I feel like old. But then too, like, I feel like time is time is getting away from me, if you will. But that's okay, because like I think too, like I was mentioning how I'm not like as tethered as I was to these things in the physical. That's what's been hindering me, like with the attachments, like to people and to, the food trauma. I've accepted and recognized that is meant to keep me addicted, controlled, and tethered, and not, ascend. And it's not that I don't want to, but I'm acknowledging that when you get attached to things, like when you're not able to relinquish something, whether it be a habit, people, environments, material possessions, it keeps you confined. You're like in a cage, a prison. And then on the spiritual level, again, you're stagnant and you're trapped. That's why many people are so under like this spell. If it's like they're like under a spell and they are controlled because they're controlled by the physical material pleasures or what they think is pleasure, but really it's destruction. And that's how I perceive it. That's why, like, I don't want any type of, tethering, addictions of any kind. That's why God and, love and my African heritage and my roots are it for me. At least that's my liberation. And I'm aware that it's completely different for all of us. So, but I'm expressing just what is liberating for me and what's clarity for me is completely being 1000% detached from everything physical. And I'm talking about me, like, I'm not saying, like, I'm going to continue to not have a home or a car. I'm saying, like, I'm not scared. I'm not going to compromise my health and my healing and my children's health and healing for the sake of keeping this thing, Like, for example, and I'm not judging, I'm not trying to compare, but I'm just giving the analogy of those of us who, out of fear of losing, the job, took the vaccination because they were fearful to, get terminated or whatever. But I'm saying for me personally, individually, that will never happen. I'm talking about, like, I'm not afraid to pivot, let go, and not know, because I think too that's what hinders us. And this is just all humans. It's not even just us as melanated people. That's what hinders us. Is like when we are too attached to where our growth and development and health suffer, and then we just remain stagnant because in the name of security or in the name of comfortability, right? So, but for me, I'm not scared. I'm not scared to lose, and I'm not scared to physically die either. Like, I could die physically, I don't know. I'm not speaking anything into existence, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not, even on that level, I'm not fearful to lose, because I understand that I have to lose. And really, too, I need to lose, because I need to lose all of the tethering, like, that's binding me, because I'm still tethered to the dysfunction and the trauma of what I've endured. And you're not supposed to stay there. That's what I've interpreted for myself, because it was a process I had to go through to get me to where I am now and to where I'm going to be in the coming future, right? It's only to refer back to. It's not to stay drowning and tethered in it, right? Or to it. Because I know that that's the crippling issue too with everybody, damn near. It really is, because they're trapped in a specific time space in their development or in their experience, and they're not able to introspect and assess why they had to go through it, or even they're not even seeking the clarity, right? And again, it's just levels. I know, I understand this too, but for me, that's why, like, I'm very adamant about just being on the straight and narrow for me, because again, I don't really know. I don't still get the appeal of being in this dimension and being, like, caught up in these things. For me, I don't know about anybody else, but because I see all of it finally for what it is. And what it's always been. It's not like it's new. It's always been like this. It's just obviously, like we talked about, coming out of, like, that illusion and, like, that deception of, oh, this is just life, and you have to do it like this, or you just have to do it. You just have to do what you have to do, and all this,
Yes.
brainwashing and programming, right? So, yes. I think I talked enough because I don't know if I'm making sense.
You are, but when you
rambling.
feel that from your side, it's not for me to tell you to keep going. You know what I mean? Like, whenever it's like a doctor and they ask you what your level of pain is from 1 to 10. Your 9 or your 8 might be someone else's 2. See, it may be mild to someone else and severe to you. So with everyone I speak to, especially when it's on a very sensitive, emotional, past trauma to current level, you let me know from 1 to 10 and when it's time. And others can get specific and graphic and go on for hours, and others, we've been talking pretty much for about 2 hours. And, I don't rate the time as far as the clock is concerned, because like I say, anybody wants to come on and talk for 10 hours or the 30 minutes, or I let them end it when they feel their tank is getting empty for them, which your tank getting empty may be 3/4 of a tank. For somebody else, it might be 2 drops from being empty. It's for you to say. And I want you to recuperate from what you shared and know that it's seeds that are going to grow to help somebody else on an emotional level and mental level to see where they are. Whatever trauma they endured, it may be the same type, it may be something different, but trauma is trauma until we break down the source of it. But the effects, whatever it is the same. So I thank you, my dear sister, and I'm glad that I have your number, because in switching the phones up, when my iPhone cracked up, and I got a cheap Chinese phone that works better than my iPhone. I was like, wow.
Oh my God.
You know how much iPhones cost. And I repaired it. Yeah. I repaired the connector. I repaired the front screen and the back glass. I put a new battery in there, and I had my headphones on, connected to it, and I got up to go to the bathroom, the kitchen, and I yanked the phone off, and I had the earpiece in, the wired earpiece, and I yanked it to the ground. The day after, I spent, a good amount of money to fix it. It broke. I said, you know what? I'm through with iPhones. I'm going back to Droid. I don't want any glass on my phone. You know what I mean? I don't mind a scratch or a little plastic or whatever. No way. And when I went the next day to go really top up my internet, and I looked back and they sold phones, I said, let me see those phones over there. And the price of it was $785, not dollars, but CDs. At a rate of $1 for 10 CDs, this was far below $100. So I said, that phone looks too good to be so cheap, but you know what? I just need basic functions. And when I got it and started programming it, I'm like, wait a second. For the price of a brand new cell phone, I can buy about 15 of these things. It has operated and done everything the other could. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of an iPhone, which I feel sometimes are unnecessary. But I'm not. I forgot the name of it. I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it on a show, a little short show, and say, hey, and compare it.
No, please share it.
Yeah.
Please share it, because I'm going to tune in because that's. I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing.
It is funny though.
I'm getting in that, like, the simplicity. I think that's my journey, is like just purity and simplicity. Because I find, like, when, at least again, like when you have all this like junk and you're toxic and all these things weighing you down, like not only in yourself, but then like the outside, influences, like
on two fronts,
other people,
internal and external.
And I need that reflection. So I need to be holistic, healed to the best. I'm not going to say perfect, but to where, again, I find my own personal sense of contentment, satisfaction, and acceptance, and then, but also to reflect it in my outward, my outside environment, my external environment. That's the goal for me, because otherwise, I just, Yeah. I'm like you at this point. And it's been a while. I've always been like I've never been the media like being seen or heard, which how does that even make sense? 'Cause, like how would even people know that you're even alive? But I'm saying this to say like, I'm not one to be, front and center. And I speak only when spoken to, or if there's something deeply passionate, like what we were talking about, throughout the duration of our conversation or our vibration is, trauma and children, motherhood, or being a mother, right? Dysfunctional families. So, and health, specifically health, right? So all of those like subjects and themes, that's what I'm deeply passionate about, probably because I'm a survivor of it, or I'm just coming out of the thick of it and getting my own sense of clarity and trying to interpret how I can use that to serve somebody else, even if it's just one person, because
Yes.
also too, I'm on the straight and narrow, really like there's nothing else. Like that's why too, like there's no other focus other than this right now where I am. Is like, okay, what do I have to give? And that's why my meditations have been so like much more potent and much more urgent and mandatory. Like I have no option to like be lackadaisical and like be like, oh, I don't feel like getting up at 3. Well, I have to because I don't have any other option, right? Because otherwise, it's just being immersed and trapped and distracted by the foolishness and the agendas that they're trying to infiltrate within us, right? Like project into us. And so for me, I'm in the place now where, like you said, I'm processing, analyzing, and seeing how to keep onward, which I am, because I don't like. If I've made it this far, how can I return back to hell, right, or the plantation? Because that's what I feel like this dimension is. It's a plantation, and I know that sounds. I hope it doesn't sound like insulting, because I know that some people they get insulted when that's spoken like that, because this is nothing like slavery, and I don't want to like not trying to disrespect or discount that that our history, but I'm the analogy of it, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Because you're right, it's not. We're thinking that we have it so hard and so tough, but we're here, and it's because of our ancestors who or at least I owe it all to, and God as well. That's why too, again, when I find myself in, this like, oh, why is this happening? I really try to not be in that space anymore, because obviously it's playing out how it's supposed to. And again, and I'm knowing that I'm not doing things that are reckless, nonsensical in the way where, again, like it's decadent, driven. Like how most people are, like it's like lust driven. I'm not on that vibration. I've never been to the degree where, people still are. So where I am now, it's because obviously I've had to strengthen my will and just strengthen where I've the super sensitive, like weak, or not weakened, but weakened, like state. Because I didn't know that I was a warrior. I didn't know that I had this fire and passion inside of me, like dormant. Because again, it's been maimed. I never thought that I was like some, I don't know. I just never perceived myself as rebellious or passionate on that level to where, again, I'm not doing things that I know that would compromise and destroy me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not just even my children, because again, I'm not here for myself. I'm here for the generations to come, and that's why I'm doing it, I guess. Or if not even doing it, like I'm like doing it on purpose, but that's why I guess I'm going through all this. But see, if it's for them, then for me, it's worth it. It's more than worth it, because they're going to come into a foundation where I have established to where they're not going to endure what I have had to, because I already done it for them. But I'm supposed to, because it's not even, because I think too, there's a trapping in that too, where this whole, oh, well, you know, why do I have to go through all this stuff? Well, I mean, obviously, you know, we all go through things, but it's to prepare for the next generation. And I feel like a lot of us are not on that level of thinking, but that's okay. Because hopefully there is somebody out there who is. And when they hear the message, they can continue on their endeavors and not like cave or not like, I don't know, not conform, I guess, like most people have. But yeah. So let us end it right there, because I want to just, like you said, come back down from the emotional heights of it all and process it. And yeah, but we have our numbers locked in the phones, so that's the most important thing for me. Because I really thought that something was wrong. I thought, you know, like, oh my gosh, she's so busy, like, you know, and I'm trying to reach out and I'm trying to like reconnect, but I know that you're really busy, and I just thought that hopefully like, nothing was like physically wrong with you and stuff, like you were not able to like answer the phone, but I know that you were busy, so. But we have each other's phone numbers, and that's all that matters, and emails too, I think. Yeah. So.
Wow. You know,
It's alright.
It's time, and just like before we recorded this conversation, I shared with you certain things that I never addressed publicly because it's proper to do so, and so you know a little bit of what betrayal that we had gone through here, and the attacks and propaganda and smear campaigns to make these entities look good while they throw us under the bus, which ultimately has begun a trajectory for them where it has backfired, because the truth is coming out on several continents. And just be still, and the truth will come out, and that's what's happening, you know.
And that's it, and that's what I said. Yeah, that's why I said it's our time. Like, it really is, and that's why I think that, and with you and Mama SCURV and just those of like us, like beings like us who are still here, even though we're so rare, that's what's keeping me on, like, and my you know, my children and stuff like that too. Like, that's what's keeping me afloat, because otherwise I don't think I would be like physically still here. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I know that we're in the era of fulfillment, and it all has to come back full circle. Because I think too, you know, the ignorance of the principle of, you know, I don't know, not correspondence, but just that principle of, you know, everything has to balance out. You can't just keep perpetuating trauma and dysfunction and chaos and insanity and not have to answer to it, you know, not have to repent, not have to, I don't know, just endure the consequences that's going to come with it from you creating it. So, no, I'm ready for it all. I'm ready. That's why, I don't know about you, but I'm not really, like, when I see people, like, in dysfunction, it's like I'm numb. And I understand because I understand that we have been for a while, I think, for me, you know, that's my perspective, but we're in the purification stages. It has to be filtered out. The dead weight, and the beings here who are not here to contribute anything to this world, to leave something behind, to not give of themselves in some way, whether it be through, you know, I don't know, but they're not here to serve on the highest sense, like on the God love frequency level, and to, you know, contribute, right? They're just here to just consume and just be greedy and gluttonous and selfish and, oh, everybody give to me, but then you don't want to give any. Well, those people who are on that vibration, they have to, it's their time to, either remain stagnant, stuck, and then, hell just increases and, magnifies for them, or it's just your time to physically be, taken off of here. That's just how I feel about it. And I hope it doesn't sound like evil and like, oh my gosh, how dare you say that? Like, who would you say that? But
No,
that's
no,
how I'm
I
feeling,
understand.
because think about it. Think about all the, like, and and really too, it's the beings who we thought in our illusion and in our delusions that, and in the facade, who, like, who had the money, who had the career, who had the, that status, we find that some of them now, they're disintegrating, in the sense of, like, that stuff doesn't mean anything, not to what it used to mean, or the facade of it, like the value of it, and all that. You gotta, I don't know, people have to ascend, or I don't know. I don't know what God has or the ancestors have, but that's what I'm perceiving. That's why I said it's our time, and if we just hold on and really just be on, the steadfast path of, like, okay, like, I can't keep getting pulled into these things that I know, right, that have caused me damage, or I just come to realize that caused me damage, right, or I'm just not in that space. I have to be, like, highly disciplined to where, like, my wellness in all aspects of who I am is top priority, and I can't have that compromised in the name of money, in the name of acceptance, in the name of whatever. I just feel like most of us are not on that level, but I know that I am. And that's not being, again, that's not trying to feel like I'm better than, but it's just acknowledging. And I feel like too, that's what's required, because I think too, what I feel and what I'm perceiving is that a lot of us we still are too attached to where, again, like, we compromise things. We compromise our souls. We compromise selling our souls, having them be siphoned off of, our energy drained, our health destroyed, further destroyed, right? Our children and their futures not taken into account. The lovelessness and just the lack of humanity, just period. Even if and it's not even on the whole, because this whole thing about, well, it's not my family. Well, just the cordiality, just period, of, like, just being a decent being is not even there either. It's complete, like, savage, like, beasts in the field. But see, for me, I have, like, this drive that I can't let this world destroy me or turn me stone cold. So that's what's holding me. And like I said, you and Mama SCURV as well, and just what you guys have been through and going through. That's why I know I'm not crazy, because you can't finesse this. You can't, this is not some rehearsal that you can, like, script and rehearse, like, like on a stage play. That's why, people who are talking about, oh yeah, I'm a chosen one, I'm spiritual, you prove it. And it's not even about prove it, but, like, really let me listen and feel you out, and I'll determine if you really are chosen. And I'm saying that in the sense of, like, when I say chosen, like warriors, like, we're here, and we, like, there's just something, like, that's keeping us here, because we know that we have a higher duty to serve and to leave something behind before it's our time to go. And that's why I'm still here. That's the only reason why. Because otherwise, I know for sure I still would not be here physically, because there's nothing that is so, even in the ounce or in the inch, appealing for me to be, I don't know, intrigued or, reeled into, oh my gosh, because, I've had so much more, enough as it is, and it's destroyed me, so why would I want to, I don't know why I would continue even being, duped, if you will, by any of it, because it's all meant to destroy me. At least that's how I'm perceiving it, like, all of it, and there's no, some of it's good. That doesn't make any sense to me, because, just, again, going back to my history and what I have discovered thus far, I mean, if they did that, and they've done it for generations, and they've been successful in it too, well, why in the hell would one thing out of that be good or not as bad? The lesser two evils, as they say. That just, it's very, I get maybe a little bit triggered when I hear that, when people think that, oh, it's not that bad. And I don't know. I fully accept this dimension for what it is and where it's headed too. It's like everything is being destroyed. That's why, again, like, I'm not vexed. I'm not, stressed in the sense of like, I'm not like unclear like I was in the sense of like what's going on. That's why I think I'm blessed. I really do, because I have at least the clarity, and that's where it starts. Because once you have some type of clarity, then everything else will unravel and come into your orbit, if you will, to help you get to where you need to be. And that's where I am now. That's why I just have to stay the course or my path and just know. I just know what it is. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to be challenged. But that's the reason why you have to interpret it as such. You can't look at it as like, why is this happening? It's, for me, I'm processing it as, okay, you're saying all these things. Well, show me that you are where you are. You have to solidify. You can't just speak it, because I think that's also the problem. That's why, too, again, I hate talking. I don't want to just, speak. Not to you, but like, just
Right.
like telling people things like, I just want to be and exude it embody it, if you will. That's why, I don't know. All this chattering, it's very it's too much. It's really too much. And again, it's already, I can just pick up the fakery, if you will, lack of a better word, of it all. The people who are just constantly talking, constantly putting out things, especially things that are just so like, there's no growth, there's no relevance, there's no, depth and, digging. I have no tolerance for it. And I hope it doesn't sound like, again, superior and haughty, but that's just where I am. That's why, like, I guess that's why I'm by myself a lot, really, because I really,
I understand.
it's more like, yeah, it's more so like on like a, it's really like it's from my my traumatic dysfunctions that, I'm coming out of and processing. So again, like, individuals who are on that vibration, and it's more so that I know it. It's not me calling them out to their face. I would never do that. I don't have the energy and the time for that, because we all have to choose and decide, where we're what we want and all these things like that. So I'm very clear on that as well. That's why, again, I hope that how I expressed what I did, it wasn't taken like an attack, like a preaching thing. It was merely simply being vulnerable, honest, raw,
Yes.
deep, which I do not do. I mean, I'm talking about like exposing myself to strangers. Not that you are, but
I know, but you're safe here.
People that I don't know.
Right, and you know that you're safe here.
I know. No, I already said I trust you. I don't trust anybody else in my space thus far than you and Mama SCURV, Mrs. SCURV. And that's just the truth. That's not, I'm not just saying that to say that. I really do not. And but that's okay, because again, I find too, as there have been other people who have mentioned this too, in their experience in this life, that like the more people that you have around you, that's where things get warped and things are unclear. But then the less things and people that you have in your space, you're much more clear. You can define and you can know exactly who is around you. That's what I aspire for, because I just don't have any more time to waste being drained and, like we were saying, talking about, giving of myself unconditionally and not seeking anything in return. That's the thing. I'm not after anybody's money, their possessions that they work hard for, or anything. I just want to love and nurture and to support and just a mere hug, just the embrace and the touch, connection between, a man and a woman, or just loved ones, right? That's it. I don't know. And for some people, and really most people, that's too innocent, that's too pure to even accept. That's why it's like, I feel cursed, because it's like, I know what I have to give is so rare, but it's like having and possessing it, sometimes it feels like a burden, because it's like, do they know and understand that beings like myself are still here? And I don't know. It's it's beautiful. It's very beautiful, just my development, because I never imagined speaking to you about this stuff. I'm talking just like what I've been through, because I just didn't think that I would be making sense, and that that it would just even be worth even speaking about, because again, I'm nobody, in the sense of like, I'm like everybody else out here, just trying to find my own way, I guess.
And the beautiful part of it is when you come back and listen to this conversation a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you say, wow, I grew so much. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why this is important. You have a reference point to, gain from. And I've had maybe 2 or 3 times, I had a person or family reach out to me. And I interviewed an uncle that was the brother of the well, not an uncle. Yeah, he was the uncle, but he was like a grand uncle. It wasn't just like, oh, that's my father's brother. It was the grandfather's, brother. And the family thanked me. And I said, well, I do this all the time. And they said, no, you don't understand. We had a family rift with him that lasted 40 years in a misunderstanding. And we didn't hardly talk. We talked a little before he passed, but we never got to the bottom of our disagreement and difference in viewpoint. And he said things sincerely to you, not knowing that we're going to hear it. He passed away several years ago, right after you did that talk with him, possibly maybe 3 months. And he said some things not knowing we're going to hear it, but because of his sincerity, we understand him now, and we feel so bad that 40 years went by. We are off of a misunderstanding that was really a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And it helped to heal them after he passed away. And after he said he forgave them and found peace, that one day they'll understand the truth of what caused the rift between them. And then it made me feel so much more as though I brought value to somebody's life just from that thing that I didn't know I was going to help to heal as a platform. You just never know how you're going to help somebody even after you do what you do.
You're right. You're right.
It was amazing.
I have to. It is. And it's so beautiful because, like, you're right. Because for me, because me being an only child, I just naturally have like that, like, I'm accustomed to being, it's just me. Like, I don't think that I have anything to contribute to somebody else because maybe I'm limited in my my experience or my perspective because, I'm coming from a very limited, singular perspective. And it may sound selfish. It may sound like, oh, it's about me, but I'm learning too, like, you're right. You never know. That's why for me, like, remaining as humble as possible and always being open. Well, not always, but, when I see and feel fit to, being humble and open to, learn and absorb, because again, all of us still hold a lot of things that we most likely will never release, meaning like we'll never expose to people, even the ones that we love, because we we just have our perceptions of, I don't want them to think that I'm crazy or whatever. So for me, yeah, that's a lesson that I'm learning, still having to learn, because again, I'm not used to being open. I'm not used to being expressive and being vulnerable and raw, because I've been betrayed when I've done that. And then two, it's just it feels like I just feel so exposed and like naked, but it's not reciprocated. So I'm expecting it not to be received in the way that I'm delivering it, which is completely out of love, vulnerability, rawness, and seeking clarity and understanding. Because for me, I'm on that. I'm very much on that vibration as well. I always have been. I'm constantly refining and in the space of refinement and purification, because I cannot remain damaged in any capacity, especially if I'm bringing children into this world. Like I can't in any way, as much as possible for my standards, let me just say that, be impure or dysfunctional or fragmented. That's why like introspection and not solitude to where you're hindering growth and development and connecting with people who can help you, but obviously that balance of, okay, it's time for me to retreat back into the shadows, if you will, and let me process and let me just have some time to whatever, and then going back out and doing things or connecting with people who who you see or feel that benefit you. So it's a journey, but I'm on it. But I'd rather be where I am now than a soulless, loveless being who is desensitized and so like, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, like, I see the distinction and I feel it and it's very clear. And I'm blessed to be where I am, despite the challenges, especially right now, as I'm speaking to you. I assure you that I'd rather be where I am and who I am than most people that I see walking past me or that I've seen.
Beautiful.
Because, yeah. Okay. All right, so let us depart for now. Let's
yes. And call me whenever you're ready. Yes, I'm locking you in. Okay. And I look forward to hearing from you anytime. And that's an open door invitation anytime. This is what I do. This is what I live. And, just reach out. Okay?
Okay. And I just have to say this because this is just my true nature coming out. We're connected for the remainder of this lifetime. And I assure you in other lifetimes to come, because that's just my nature. I'm a Taurus. It's like attachments and like family and love is everything to me than most people. That's why when I establish a connection with someone who I feel like I've known them for, like, they feel familiar, like their energy is very familial and family, I have to hold on to them. And I hope that, I don't come across as like too intense or whatever, but that's just my nature. So I'm forewarning you. I may check in every once in a while and just say, hey, Uncle Lance, are you all right? Are you everything okay?
And likewise.
With you and Mrs. SCURV? And yeah, so I don't want to come across as like, intense and like, oh, you're bothering me. Because I know how some people,
Never that.
Okay.
All right? Never that. And just know you're valuable. You've helped many people with this conversation. And not only are you a blessing to the world, but you're a blessing to me. Thank you so much for being who you are.
Oh, thank you.
The best is yet to come for you. Trust me.
Likewise.
Okay, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.